Hey, it's Brendan. Thanks so much for tuning in the podcast today. This is a compilation of stuff I find valuable. I hope you do too. Enjoy.
All right.
Carter, what's up, man? Thanks for coming on. Let's do this.
Yeah, well, thank you, Brendan, or Dr. Gallagher, however I should call you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you taking this time for me.
Yeah, of course. You got it. Call me Brendan. Call me Brendan, man.
All right, cool.
Throw this over here. I just got my laundry in real quick, and we are on fire. We're ready to go now.
All right. So I do have some questions for you since I'm a junior at UT Austin applying. Hopefully this cycle, I'm still trying to figure that out, of course. But my first question for you is, how did you study for the DAT? And then what exactly did you use when you were trying to study for that DAT?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so now you got to keep in mind, right? I'm not fresh off the I'm not fresh out of DAT, like PreDental, but no matter. So, a couple of things I had used. Let's see. So, the biggest thing was I had actually studied the PAT section separately. So, I did all 4 years of college. And dude, don't worry about writing anything down. I'm gonna post this later.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'll put it on the podcast. I'll put it on YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch video, listen to audio. Maybe I'll get to chop up some segments at some point if someone could do it. But yeah, so anyway, as far as the DAT goes, what I actually did uniquely was that the PAT section is different from anything you've taken before. Are you familiar with what the PAT part is?
Yes, the perceptual ability part.
Yes. So some of them, it's like they'll fold up a piece of paper somehow, pop a hole in, and say which is the final design. Another one is like count the sides of cubes, and they'll give you like a cube structure, or which is the largest angle, and they'll show you like 4 or 5 different angles, and they all look exactly the same. Let's be honest, no one knows which is the smallest angle. So it's got a lot of weird things like that, right?
Mhm.
Now the point is that it was so different from anything that you learn in college that I actually separated it. So I did 4 years of college, and then it was the summer before my last year that I decided I want to go to dental school instead of med school, right? And the reason why that is important is because I knew I was going to take a gap year. So I didn't take the DAT during my 4th year of college. So I took it right after. And now this is where I'm getting to the point where I was like, all right, it's August and I'm starting my last year of dental school. I missed the cycle to apply to schools, right? I want to have a
Mhm.
good full cycle. So I'm like, I'm not going to rush to take the DAT and try and, no. So what I did was I separated. You have everything else that you don't necessarily learn in college, but like reading, math, orgo, chem, bio, you get it. PAT is separate. So what I did is I actually separated that, and I learned that for the first time around in winter break. And now I
Oh,
said,
wow.
forget everything else. I'm going to learn the PAT now. And it was even
Mhm.
a month off from school. That's way more than enough time to learn the PAT section. So I learned that individually. Took a lot of stress off to do that during winter break, and it was kind of enjoyable that way, if that's weirdly enough,
Okay.
right? And then what happened was, since you're not learning the other subjects from scratch, I was just basically reviewing and going hard on test prep, DAT booster. So now let's go in. You have DAT booster, boot camp. Boot camp's the test taking practice one, right?
Yes.
Booster, I forget which one booster is, but then there's crack the DAT. That's best for the PAT portion, among other portions, right?
Okay.
Crack the DAT, PAT, best for the PAT, and then all the other sections do it. Chad's videos are notoriously best for orgo, gen chem. It is good for bio. It's decent for math, but the math equations on the actual DAT were significantly harder than Chad's videos math equations, right? But nonetheless, corrected that. Chad's videos do everything, all of it. I used an AP bio book for bio review. I did that entire book. I only had about a month and 15 days, a little less than a month and a half after I graduated for the DAT. What am I missing here? Reading wasn't too hard. I mean, the practice stuff that you have for DAT bootcamp, I thought that was more than enough. But there's other materials. There's DAT Destroyer. That's another big one.
Okay. Yeah, I've definitely heard that one before.
So Carter, now let me open. I want to ask you, what are you doing? Have you started studying yet?
I'm actually going to purchase, I think, I plan on purchasing DAT Bootcamp sometime this week. And because, I'm trying to take it probably at near May, June, somewhere around that time frame. Still trying to like nail down the time slot, but that's when I'm planning on taking it, and I plan on studying this week actually.
Okay, so you're taking it next year. That's plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of time. Even you could even get AP books in all of them. College materials. Dude, you have plenty of time. I would definitely save that winter break and go all in on the PAT. Like for that, like a month or two, PAT only. Put everything else to the side. Go in, and then this will give you really. Actually, this is great. You could really hone in on DAT materials for all the other subjects now and after, and the test prep material, like the question banks, like the practice tests and stuff. I would save those right before the exam. I would save those for like 2 months before the 2.5 months before the test. If you do
Okay.
those now, what are you going to do for test prep right before the, you know what I mean?
I do, yes.
So I would go all in on Quizlets right now. I would go all in on, reading AP or college books on those subjects. Khan Academy is excellent for individual things too. I highly recommend that one too.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely figure out exactly when I'll take the DAT, but that definitely sounds like a good game plan. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And does that make sense? What do you think?
I think that makes sense. I think it's a good plan to like, with what you provided, like some things have better things than others, like the perceptual ability, like you were mentioning, like it's better on that. Was it crack the DAT? I think you said.
That's right.
Compared to like others, which I've heard like sometimes you need more instruction on that part compared to like others, since we're not really taught that, kind of like what you said. So I definitely see where you're going there for sure. Absolutely.
And don't leave any distractions there to, you know what I mean? I felt that it worked. Look, dude, when I was doing the practice, I was getting the lowest score I got on the practice test was 26. And they actually had, what happens is if you get one question wrong, like the fold up question or the cube questions, they'll ask 6 questions on the one figure. And there was one that I kept getting wrong on the practice test. Get this. And it was on the DAT. And I got it wrong again because they didn't have the answer choices that the practice tests have had. Right? Like they switched the wording of they switched it up. I totally got it. I ended up getting a 22 on the PAT, which I was happy with, but I
Yeah,
didn't see anything
good.
less than a 26. So I was pretty disappointed about that. But like what are you gonna do? So
Yeah, that's definitely good to know. And then another question I have for you is like, what were your extracurriculars in undergrad that kind of like you put on your application for dental school?
Sure. So I did play basketball in undergrad. I only did 3 years. I didn't play my last year. I didn't really feel so. What ended up happening, I actually transferred in the middle of after two. I did 2 years at NYU's engineering school. I graduated from Stevens, so I did my latter 2 years there, and I only played 1 year basketball there. It wasn't the same feel. In that time, I did research. So that's two things that I did a research project. I got a research award for that. Now, a lot of the research was like helping out a master's level, so a PhD level student. So I was doing a lot of tasks for her, helping her out over the summer before my last year. I felt that it was like research, I forget what it was, but that I really felt carried some weight on my resume, if you will. That was good. Other extracurriculars, I was in the Irish club. Just
Okay.
I got Irish hair. My last name's Gallagher, first name's Ben. So that was something there. That I added that on for a while. I did some volunteer work at like a kitchen. I lifeguarded through the summers of college too. So I also worked through the summers. Lifeguard kind of in the healthcare career, if you will. Not
Yeah, I
really.
lifeguard too, actually.
Do you
Nice.
really?
I
By the
do,
way,
yeah.
Carter, look for the best job possible is lifeguarding, because if you get like a pool at a gym, for example, now you're making money, you get the free gym membership. Oh,
Hmm.
dude, I mean, look at those pools. It's like an Olympic-sized pool, but it's four
It
feet
is.
deep. No one's drowning in that pool. You know what I
No,
mean?
not really.
So think of how much time you could use there for studying for the DAT or for classes during college, for example.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
you could
It's
literally
definitely
get
a good point.
paid to study. If the pool's light, if you got a preschool class going on in the corner, obviously you can't. But free gym membership, paying, studying, highly recommend that little trick for the back pocket.
Absolutely.
Those were most. Oh, and I was president for the Catholic club my sophomore year of college at NYU Poly. So those were the bulk of my extracurriculars. Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. And then I would say, like, kind of following with that, like, what volunteer work exactly did you do? Because I hear a lot of like dental schools say, "Oh, we need like X amount of volunteer hours or community service." Can you kind of like elaborate on more of what you did with that?
Yeah. Yeah. At the time, I think it was like I wanted to get about 300 volunteering hours. So I volunteered at like soup kitchens. That was a big one. Food drives, soup kitchens. That was the bulk of it. For dental school, I think it's more important to shadow. Now you gotta show that you get some volunteer hours, right? Maybe
Hmm.
100, 300. Definitely get what you need. I wouldn't go overboard on that. I would go overboard on the DAT.
Okay.
Obviously, keep your GPA as high as you can get it, right?
Hmm.
But then the biggest thing from there is I would shadow doctors. I would shadow a ton of dentists near you. Get an
Hmm.
idea of what the other specialties are about, right? You're going to slowly, or maybe work in someone's office, maybe an orthodontist or general dentist, right? You can learn the lingo so that when you're getting interviewed, you can talk with the dentists that are interviewing, right? It shows that you have interest if you saw the oral surgeon, you saw the orthodontist, you worked for the endodontist, and so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
That's really important, and I would rack up those hours. That's really big. Um, Also, quick side note, the extracurriculars, it shows that you're ready to get involved. Even bigger than that, I wouldn't focus on going all like everything pre-dental necessarily. Definitely do pre-dental, but I'll
Hmm.
hone in on what your passions are. Like some girls coming in, she went to Juilliard, right? Like she's like a professional pianist. Another girl had her master's in business and worked for 7 years before reapplying to dental school.
Hmm.
Another girl was like president of the knitting club. Now, I wouldn't go all in like, oh, well, I got to show that I have hand skills.
Right.
More so passion. Like when I was on the interview, one guy at Toro, it was the entire hour we were just talking about basketball. Um, at Stony Brook, it was Dr. Newman. He was talking about how he has a house in New Hampshire and he likes to go out fishing there. And I was like, oh, my dad goes fishing all the time. He's in Canada 2 months ago, whatever it was. Um, it's more of a talking point for your interview. Does that make sense? It shows that you have passions outside of just school, of just okay. So it's more of setting yourself up for later down the line, and you got to enjoy college too.
Yes, absolutely. Work hard, play hard, right?
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, and then I guess my next two questions are like, when is a good time to ask for letters of rec, and when's a good time to like write your personal statement when it comes time to applying for dental school?
Right. Now the timing's different for everything. The most recent thing was, well, I'm applying for jobs now. Last thing before that was 3 years, 4 years ago now. I was asking for letters of rec to apply to oral surgery programs, and then 4 years, 5 years prior to that, because I took a gap year, was asking for letters of rec. So letters of rec are going to come right around the time of the end of your. You're not going to take a gap year, right?
I'm trying not to, but if I have to, it's not the end of the world, but
Of course. It'll be around the end of your third year,
okay.
right? Because then it's like the first week of June or whatever the hell it is. That's when the portal opens to apply to dental school. You want to get everything in that week, right? Like give
Right.
yourself the best opportunity to be first in that stack, right? So it's
Hmm.
got to be in that week. So it'll be like early springtime, third year of college.
Got it. And I am a junior right now, so that's very good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, March, I would start talking about it. I would start feeling out which professors that you're closest with. Who's really been a mentor to you throughout college? And then you need like like the departmental chair, letter rec, whatever do you know what I'm talking about?
Like where it's like three letters into like one or something like that. I kind of think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I
Like a
forget
committee packet or
the
something.
committee. The committee, that's it. The committee. Yes. Gotta have that. That's number one most important. And then you could also consider yeah, so your third year, yeah. Wait, so you just finished break?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'm getting my timing all mixed up. So you don't have a break to study. I was
No,
thinking
you're good.
weird. I'm sorry about that. No, I was totally thinking you have a year and a couple months. Okay. So you've only a few months before you're taking the DAT.
Hmm.
At the same time, you're asking for letters of rec. Your GPA is where it is right now. You just started your spring semester of third year college. I got it. Okay. I got it mixed up.
No, you're good. No worries.
Okay. So I would start looking at that PAT soon then.
PAT sooner. Got it. And then what's like and you kind of answered this, but when's an ideal time to submit your dental school application? Because sometimes I hear like the earlier the better, but sometimes people say it's okay to like wait maybe a few weeks after so you don't like rush it. So it's not like a bad application, but don't wait till the very end. What are your thoughts on like when to apply and when's like, I guess it's different for everyone, but when's like the right time to apply, if you will?
I would try my best. You want to try to get in as early as possible, right?
Early as possible.
But here's the thing: if it's going to rush your application, well, then why are you getting in the first week? You can't rush the application. Just everything should be in order, planned for say 2 weeks before. There's always a couple stragglers coming in, whether it's the DAT score, another letter or two. I would plan for like having everything ready 2 weeks before, so when the portal opens, it's just submit, submit, submit. You could probably reverse engineer that timeline and say, okay, the DAT takes what is it, like 2 weeks, a month for the score to get sent.
I think it's a month, if I recall.
So now you know, add 2 weeks, add another 4, and now you know probably the latest you want to take your DAT if you think you can be ready by then.
Okay. That's definitely a good point to know.
Right. So that would be, honestly, I think you get away with I would try to aim for like first week of May, right? For that DAT. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And you're just about to start to get into February. So you get February, March, April. That's 3 months. Now that is plenty of time. However, you're taking classes during the day.
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not as straightforward. What's your school schedule looking at like?
Yeah, so I'm currently taking Physics 2, Physics 2 Lab, Evolutionary Biology, Organic Chemistry 2, and Communication Selective. So it's a pretty heavy schedule.
That's a dense schedule, man.
So 13 hours, 5 classes.
Oh, so do you have any days off during the week?
I do. I have majority of Fridays and I have lots of time in between Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. Because you're going to be studying a lot for Orgo too. I mean, you're not going to get around that. Physics can be a lot too, depending. I sucked at physics. Orgo was great.
I did too. Same. Yeah, I'm the same way.
You're in the same boat. So maybe physics needs a little more attention than Orgo, while you still want to try and get that A in Orgo. That looks fantastic on your application.
Absolutely. I would concur.
And now I'm not telling you what to do, but is physics on the DAT?
No, it's not.
So if I were you, and by no means am I telling you, I'm saying like you're about to take the DAT in a few months. Orgo 2 is on it. If you can crush Orgo and get a flat A and maybe take a B in physics, just do what you got to do. Get the B's in physics, like if you have to. If you could get A's in everything, by all means, do it. But you know what I mean? If it's as far as attention, physics isn't on the DAT, and it's also not heavily used in dental school either. So I would do, no matter what you have to do, prepare for that DAT and get the A in Orgo, since it's kind of preparing for the same thing, right? Orgo's on the DAT.
Yes.
And then whatever you need to do to get the highest scores you can in physics, do it. But you see you know what I mean? If it really came down to it, I think now you have an idea.
Yeah, how to like prioritize certain classes, because it kind of makes sense, because organic chemistry, like you said, is on the DAT, physics is not. So I definitely see where you're coming at.
Exactly.
And another thing I have to ask is like, so you took a gap year. Can you tell me like what you did during that gap year and how did you like use that gap year to like benefit you to be prepared for dental school? Like, what did you do during that year?
Yeah, sure. So after I submit, I'll try to keep it concise too. And I'm talking year off with some of these.
No worries.
As far as this one goes, I worked for an oral surgeon as a surgical assistant in his office for the whole year. And that was only like 4 days a week. So say it was Monday through Thursday. Then like Friday, Saturday, I lifeguarded at an assisted living home. 3 nights of the week, after I got out of work at the oral surgeon's office, I lifeguarded at the gym so I could get the free membership and stuff. As far as directional, like direct stuff for benefiting for dental school, I was reading a lot of books. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's a huge one. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I read Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. These are very foundational book. I've been trying to get to this one. Ray Dalio, Principles. That's a big one. And then I've been listening a lot to Jim Rohn right now. These are more life, like overall conceptual things. Actually, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I recommend. That's the number one book I've ever read in my life. I've read it like 5 times now. Huge for interviews. Okay. So nothing to worry about now. When you start getting interviews, I would have that book handy and I would read the whole thing before your first one. It's crucial. Let's see what else. Music producing on the side. I made like 15 songs or something. I want to get back to that one day. I was doing stocks on the side too, trying to work on make a little money, develop some investment strategies. So that was the majority of that year. I think that was plenty.
Yeah. And how was the transition from that gap year to dental school? Because a lot of times people say, like, people who weren't enrolled in coursework, people say like, oh, sometimes people lose their study habits and they have a hard time transitioning. How's like the transition from like undergrad to like your gap year to like dental school like for you?
Sure. This is actually a big point here. So nothing's actually going to prepare you adequately for dental school, right? It's the equivalent of like 32 credits a semester. Okay. They're just going to shove a ton of work down your throat. And then when you start to breathe again, they're going to be, here's clinic. You got to see 10 patients now. All right. Figure it out. And then if you're interested in oral surgery, when you figure that out, on top of that, you're studying for the CBSE exam. Okay. Which is different from any exam you've taken in dental school thus far, because it's a medical school board exam based thing. Okay.
Right.
So believe it or not, it really depends on what kind of person you are. Because some people are like, they're like a machine with studying, and you put the machine off to the side on the bench for a year. It's going to be slow to start, right? Needs an oil change, whatnot. For me, I felt that, and I think this is the better answer. I saw a lot of people that had taken gap years or worked in business in the meantime, the pianists that went to Juilliard. I felt that they had a much bigger, better picture of the world at large. When you're in school, from elementary school, middle school, high school, college, into dental school, straight through, you've never actually been in the real world. Even if you're working in a job in summers and stuff, you're going back to school in the fall, and you're getting institutionalized through the whole process. By seeing what the world is at large, you're working for a job. Maybe you have to pay rent. You're working at your family's business. There was another kid. He's oral surgery, Ian Lynn. He's at oral surgery at UConn right now in the 6-year program. He worked several years for his parents' his parents' business.
Okay.
So now he got to see client services and communications, how the business runs, how to keep people happy, how to keep the business afloat.
Yeah.
When times get hard, what do you do to step up? And I felt that, people have a much bigger picture of the world surrounding you. I think you get a feeling that you're very protected, and a little bit of entitlement, like everything could just be gone in certain businesses if you run a business on your own, like a private practice. But all right, so I think that's plenty for that question. I think it actually helped me motivate me when I went back to dental school.
That's good to know. And then another question I have is, what were some, this is kind of a broad question, but what were some effective ways that you studied in dental school that helped like manage your time, if you will?
Yeah, excellent question. Quizlet. It took me a year and a half to really get into this, but Quizlet is the premium version, allows you to put figure. We're visual learners, right? Dental school, medical school, you're learning the human body, teeth, anatomy. We're visual learners as people, right? The majority of us need to see pictures to learn things. By being able to put clinical photos, diagrams, photos, pictures, x-rays onto the Quizlet, it allowed me to really put a picture with what terms are on the side. I would put, and the Quizlet, I would put question answer. So I would put like part A, B, C. I wouldn't go more than that. Otherwise, it really creates some density on the index card that's not needed, because you want to get repetitions. You'll get to the point where if you select an individual photo for every topic concept that you're doing, you'll see something like that photo or the topic, and you'll remember the photo and everything on front and back of that card. That's where you want to get to as far as memorization goes. And like I said about repetitions, learning in college, for example, I used to rewrite things 3, 4, 5 times before exams and remember
me
it.
too.
Exactly. You're not going to have time to study like that in dental school. You're not going to have time, right?
Yeah.
32 credits a semester. You're taking about 15 hours now. Multiply that by 2 and seeing patients. It's just, look, we got to figure it out and get faster at it. I recommend Quizlet. Get the premium version. It was like $20 a year. Put figures on every single card because that's how you're going to remember it, and get repetitions. You'll get to the point you'll go through a deck 2 or 3 times and you'll get A's on everything.
Really? Okay, that's a good way to know things.
Oh yeah. As far as concentration, I mean, you really want to get into the thick of it. I would listen to progressive house mixes. They're like 1 to 2 hours, no vocals. It's all just like a melodic house tune, so it keeps you going, right? But it doesn't distract you. Another thing was for actual studying, we didn't have a library at Stony Brook Dental School. I would go to Panera, so there's like some action, but I would have the noise canceling headphones.
Yeah.
So you feel the activity around you, but you're not necessarily getting distracted. And I would leave my phone. This is probably the biggest number one thing. I would leave my phone in the car.
Really?
I would literally study for all day, 10, 15 hours. I'd be sitting in Panera just studying the entire day. Phone's in the car, not connected to the laptop. So you literally can't get distracted. I'm telling you, these little things, they do wonders.
That's a good point because I do have a tendency to get distracted a lot. So I'll definitely keep that in mind for sure.
We all do, man. We all do. Yeah.
I guess how much more time do you have? Just some respectful of your time.
Yeah, I got at least 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Another thing I wanted to ask you is like, how many dental schools did you apply to, and which ones did you get into? If you want to share that with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just for your own knowledge, your help, I got on the DAT, because that was before, it was a 21 academic average, 22 on the PAT. The 21 academic average was like 19 on bio, 19 on reading. I don't remember what I got on math. 21 on Gen Chem, 24 on Orgo. No, 22 Gen Chem, 24 Orgo. So maybe bio. No, bio was like a 20, 21 because I averaged 21. So it might have been a 21 if you think about it. And then reading was 19 and math must have been like 19.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that was that. Just to give you a basis. I don't know. People.
Yeah, that helps.
And then as far as applications to dental school, I applied to 6. I have family in Florida, so I applied to UF. I didn't hear back from them because they take like 98% in-state. Apparently, that's what I had heard. Seemed to be true. Now, the 5 that I applied to and got interviews at were NYU, Toro, Stony Brook, Rutgers, and Buffalo. Okay, so I applied. Those are the other 5 I applied to. I got interviews, and actually, I did get accepted to all 5 of them.
Wow.
It was a big day. It was a big day.
Nice. And why'd you choose Stony Brook out of like the 5 schools that you got accepted to?
Yeah, so Carter, let's think about it in your terms, right? You're potentially interested in specializing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you shadowed dentists yet?
I have, yes. My uncle's actually a dentist. I definitely have shadowed him. He's a dentist in Palm Springs, California, on the other coast. So I've shadowed him. I shadowed some where I'm from in Dallas, and then some in Austin. So I definitely had lots of shadowing before.
You're going all over the West.
I know. Speaking of that, I was actually in New York winter break like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really? No way.
I was, yeah. It was nice. It was very fun.
Oh, you were just here then?
Yeah, on Christmas Day, actually, with my family.
Oh, that's nice. You got to see the lights. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, kind of around the Times Square area, but really cool area for
Times
sure.
Square is getting pretty busy, a little bit dangerous too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they all come into one of the hospitals I work at, and it's kind of sad to see these people coming in, tourists, and they're like getting slashed and punched in the face and stuff. But anyway, not to scare you. Did you do shadowing here too while you were in New York?
I did not. I wish I could.
Next time.
For sure. I'll know who to reach out to.
Yeah. So what I was going to say, as far as shadowing, not shadowing, as far as the schools go, you're interested in applying to specialties. The best prediction that you can have to foreshadow, am I going to have the best chance myself when I get to that point to apply to specialties, right? it's hard to look at under the hood, if you will, or behind the curtain, if you will, at these dental schools. But certain dental schools have better match percentages than others, right?
Mhm.
And it's hard to get those numbers. Were you able to look at the PreDent mentor map by any chance?
I saw that. I looked a little bit on that. Yes, I did.
Good, 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 good. It's a work in progress, of course. We're looking to add those numbers to the map. We need help. We need help getting in touch with ASDA. ASDA is the main club of dental schools. But so for the future, that's fine. You do have 9 months before you get acceptances and stuff. So essentially, Stony Brook had the best numbers. Okay, it's also the smallest school. Maybe that's correlative. Maybe it's not. At the time, Stony Brook, it still is. It's unranked, which I thought worked to its favor. It's a small school, better clinical attention, better match percentages. I mean, 5 went into oral surgery the year before I got in. 6 matched, I think, the year after. Then 5, then 2, and then our year was 4. For a class of size of 44, those are outstanding match percentages. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
Monroe, on the other hand, just to give an example, there's 400 students a year there. And on the PreDent mentor map, you could look at the class sizes, the
Yeah.
tuition rates, that's
Mhm.
pretty important, average GPA that they accept, some important things. In addition, you could match with a mentor too to get some school specific questions asked. But class 400, same thing. Maybe a handful of students at NYU match into specialty, into oral surgery specifically. I'm not too familiar with the other specialties, but now say even at tops 10, they match into oral surgery out of 400. That's not even close to 4 out of 44. You know what I mean?
I do.
So I think people that are interested in going to specialties, they want to look at that history because you're going to be able to give yourself the best prediction of what percentage you're going to be within when you apply.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point to look at. I didn't really think about the match rates as often because sometimes I ask the dental admissions like, "Oh, what are your match rates?" And they're like, "We can't disclose that." Or they'll say stuff like that, and that's kind of like makes it a little harder to like say, "Ooh, like how should I select which school to go to?" So I definitely see what you're saying. It takes a lot more digging to do to get those numbers.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a concept that so why are they hiding those numbers? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, are they not that good? Well, then why? Like, you know what I mean? This is information that's crucial to the dental student. Why is there not transparency? I don't know. I'm working deeper into this with our team at Students of Dentistry. We're working on it because this information is crucial to predental students, and it's not fair for them to have certain info omitted. Now, playing devil's advocate, a dental school can't be like, well, you shouldn't be worrying about specializing. You got to become a dentist first.
Mm-hmm.
100%. But we need people to go into specialties too. You know what I mean? So we're working on that. I don't think it's right that dental schools can just choose to omit certain information.
I agree. Yeah, I would definitely like to see more transparency in the process too. I think that would be a thing beneficial for me and many other people because sometimes like we have an idea of like what we want to do and it kind of like helps us find, I guess, our best fit. I think that's a good point to make.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to know where you're going. You know what I mean? You got to know all the information. Yeah. What else? What else we got? What else we got? Got a couple
Yeah,
minutes.
no, you're good. I guess one of my last questions is like about your pre-dent mentor map. Can you tell me about it and how does the mentor stuff kind of like work? I looked a little bit on the website, but I want you to tell me kind of more about it if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. So it's we finally have the backbone of it. We have the skeleton, right? And it's a great foundation. We have all the schools in the United States on it. We're implementing Canada. We're just waiting for our website team to get back on us about like actually helping us put it onto the map. All the information's in there. So yeah, we're adding on Canada now, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Actually, just today I reached out to maybe 50 something students after I got out and trying to get them to we feature them on Students of Dentistry, and then we're trying to sign them up as current dental student mentors for pre-dental students. It's just something simple. So pre-dents can get 3 to 5 questions asked by people, current dental students at that school, so they can get updated, information that they're asked, right? Because things change year to year. Um, right now, it's supposed to be free. Pre-dents, it's tough to get this information, especially things that are unique to each school. And if you're in Texas, you're trying to find out information for Harvard and Boston. How are you gonna? You don't know anyone up there, right? So
Not really.
exactly, right. It's not, or what about Washington or California or Detroit, right? Like, so we're trying to make that accessible for you for free. Um, the goal is to implement a marketplace onto this so that companies can actually sign up and have, pay rent if you subscribe to being in this. And then if prenatal students need something, or, we're trying to get codes for the mentors so that, look, we're not going to be able to pay back your student loans, but, $100 here and there, if we can get the right filtering of the money, we'd be able to have current dental students make a little bit of cash on the side just for helping out,
Yeah.
This is going to help alleviate the burden and stress of predental students for free, giving them information for free. We're hoping to help out current dental students, giving them, they're giving back, they're doing their thing, they're doing good, and it shouldn't take too much time out of the daily schedule. Give them some compensation. We're going to give access to this community, the population of these students going on and off the map to these companies that are looking to market to them. I really think this will be good for the future, and we're just trying to make it better for the process of getting into dentistry, getting through dentistry. Believe it or not, we're creating another map for dentists. That's going to be the next thing.
Ooh, okay.
A few years out now. This is the prototype for that, and we are absolutely going to reward. This is going to be big. What we're going to be doing for dentists on that map, we're going to reward the dental students because we're on the dentist, the PreDent mentoring map. The dental students on there, we're going to be able to reward them by giving them discounts or an easy sign up if they were able to mentor for most of their time in dental school. So more information than they asked for, but that's essentially it.
Yeah, awesome. And I think time's kind of up. I can ask you two quick questions if you don't mind.
Please. Yeah, you got it. My next call's, I got a little bit. I got to go eat dinner, but yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. So you're speaking about mentors. Is it possible that maybe this might sound a little weird, but maybe you could be my mentor and help me out the dental school process?
I'll do the best I can. Remember,
Okay.
I'm already almost 3 years out of dental school.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm not saying no, absolutely. And you have the DM. Just send me the DM. I get back to you with the audio messages, right?
Yeah.
That's the best way and I get back to you in a fairly reasonable
You
amount of
do.
time.
Yes.
And then the audio messages, it allows me to get back quicker rather than planning calls. And then I could give you more detail with the audio too. But yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And if I'm ever back in New York City, can I shadow you if possible?
Yeah. Shadowing stuff because I'm only a resident, right?
Okay. Maybe once you finish your residency.
Oh, after residency, absolutely. No question.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then lastly, do you have any DAT bootcamp discount codes by any chance? If you do, if you want to share.
I don't. I should probably be in on that, but I should because it's a good program and I do end up recommending it. I don't though. I'm not on like trying to sell people stuff. I'm trying to give you just my personal opinion and try to give you my best,
No, for sure. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, Brendan, taking the time and answering a lot of my questions. It means a lot to me. And if I need anything else, I'll be sure to reach back out to you.
Yeah, man. Just send me a DM. I would check out. I think it's Ray Dentistry, and then there's Steven and they have the boot camp codes. I could definitely find one for you too.
Perfect.
I would go on Students of Dentistry. We feature people every day, a couple people today, and I would look on their pages. Some of them do the discount. I got to look into that. I'm really trying to partner with DAT Bootcamp, get them onto the map, and that'll be a direct resource for. And I hope they can understand the ethical thing we're trying to change this dentistry process for. You know what I mean? Compensation to dental students, just like they're doing, but to promote PreDent mentoring. And then it's not just me. If you could have access to students at every school in the United States, think of how much better that would be for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would 100% agree.
Yeah. So, all right, man. All right. Any other questions? Anything else I can help you with?
I think that's all I have today. Thanks, Brendan, for taking the time. And if I need anything, like I said, I'll just hit you up with a DM.
Yeah, man. You got it. Yeah. I got to run. But, dude, just hit me up with a DM. If you need another call, we can do in the future. I think you need this time to study for that DAT now.
I do.
All right, Carter.
Brendan, well, I will see you whenever.
Anything you need, man. Just send me a DM. I got you, okay?
Sounds good. Take care, Brendan.
All right, brother. Have a good night and good luck.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.